Welcome to another edition of the Basketball Teacher Podcast. Our mission is to bring you discussions on a wide array of topics in the coaching world to grow players on and off the court. You can connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and also reach us directly through email at basketballteacherpodcast@gmail.com. Now, here's your host, Coach Mike Hernandez.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us here for another episode. Wherever in the world you are listening from, whatever platform you're listening to us on, as always, thank you guys so much for the support, the emails, the kind messages, sharing this podcast around. It's pretty crazy. We're already almost on year 3 here of doing this. So thank you, whether you just started listening or whether you've been there since the beginning. Appreciate you coming and checking out this episode. And this is one that I think has taken on more meaning for me over recent years as I think about the way that the game is being coached and the way that the game is being taught. And I'm very fortunate in my area to work with some really wonderful coaches who really do a great job and instill not only just great basketball skills, but a certain way of playing the game and a certain play style that is hard and is very effective, but also very respectful to the game itself and is really going about coaching players the right way. But I've also seen things kind of on the other end as well, where I wonder if the players who are being coached or trained really are learning the game the right way or learning game with the respect that game deserves. And so I think that this is a good episode to kind of do maybe a little bit of a self-assessment, so to speak, about where we're kind of at as coaches and the way that we coach the game. And I think most of us listening are going about things the right way, but maybe this will help kind of give us a little thoughts and insights on just ways we can just maybe be a little bit better or help out other coaches and make sure that they're, going about coaching and training the right way. So that'll be our topic, coaching with respect for the game. And I'm very happy to be joined by Coach Greg Robertson, who's going to join us here from up north in Canada over there. Coach, appreciate you coming on and joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Coach, let's start with your journey with basketball and how did your journey come about? How did you end up coaching where it is that you're at? I know you also, took a little bit of time off here recently, but what's your basketball journey been? And also, I know you also are an owner as well of an organization as well. So let's talk about all the journey that you went on with basketball.
Yeah, all right. So it started, I was about, I don't know, I was probably 25 years old. And my son was playing U10, kind of little novice basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a small group of kids that wanted to keep going over the summer. And so I said, all right, here's what we'll do. I'll take a group of 4 or 5 of you, and we'll practice outside, and we'll go to all the 3-on-3 tournaments, the outdoor 3-on-3 tournaments that they host, like Gus Backers and stuff. And started out, had a lot of fun with it. And then after the summer, the kids kind of said, hey, we'd really like to keep going. So I reached out to a local program that was looking for a grade 5 coach at the time. And I said, I'd really like to do this. And they agreed to have me on, started a team and just started running with it. And coached there for a few years. And there was a all-female program here in London, where I'm from, and they were looking to start a boys program. So we did some talking, and I said, yep, no problem. I will come over and we'll start the boys program there. And we did a lot of really good things in the city that way. And in the midst of that, as my guys got older and older, college coaches and university coaches started taking notice of my players. And one coach in particular came in to recruit a couple of my guys. And we struck up in a conversation. And he asked me to join the coaching squad at the college. So I said, okay. It was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
School is about an hour and a half away. So it was a lot of driving.
Yeah.
But, and the weird thing here in Canada is, college assistants really, you really don't get paid. It's more voluntary. So a lot of driving, a lot of hours on the road. And, you still have to work a full-time job on top of that.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
well worth it. Learned a lot. And then the kept going with the youth as well. And then the local college here and where I'm from, kind of took notice. And, Coach Tony asked me, he said, we'd really like to come on board. So I said, okay, that saves me, it saves me an hour of driving
Yeah,
each
yeah.
way every day. And also it's, it's always good to learn from as many coaches as you can as an up and coming coach. You don't want to get stuck in one sort of rut. So it was nice, move to a different program, learn from different coaches. And, Coach Tony is, one of the most respected coaches in the province. So it's been a blessing to learn from him for the last few years. And during all that, we started a training program too for kids. Uh, not it wasn't I didn't look at it as a competitive anything competitive. It was more we wanted to get little kids in the gym and
Yeah.
just have fun with it. I don't know. I started noticing like you're seeing all these videos on Instagram and stuff, and like 8-year-old kids in the gym with trainers, and it's like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't want to do that. So
Okay, yeah.
I was like, let's just get them in the kid gym and have fun. Like, let's go back to the way it was supposed to be. And so we started doing that, and then obviously COVID hit up here, and we got locked up pretty good. Um, and kids really started to struggle, and
Yeah.
we kind of found a way to continue competitive, but through my own program, it kind of transferred over to the competitive side because the kids wanted to do that.
Hmm.
And we were going to go back to my competitive program I was with was completely different. And at the end when they started letting us play, the kids all said, no, we want to stay under this moniker. And we're like, oh, under my Glory basketball moniker.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, if that's what we want to do, that's what we'll do. Like, I don't really care what the name on the jersey says. It doesn't matter to me. So I said, if that's what you want, that's what we'll do. And, my son got on board coaching with us as well. And, we worked with, I don't know, we've over 100 kids the last 2 or 3 years, just in small group training sessions as COVID would allow. And
Yeah, you talk about those 10 person at once
oh yeah,
sessions. Yeah, yeah.
it's crazy. And like parents can't come in and
Yeah, yeah.
everybody's masked up and it was a struggle, but
Sure.
we got through it. There was a local church here that was just that blessed us with gym time for a very, very inexpensive cost. And so we just did what we could. And then once we went back to competitive, even the city here gave us permits on the outdoor courts, so we could
That's
we were
really nice.
when it was nice out, we could run outdoors and we didn't have to worry about sharing courts. We had the permit for it, so that was nice. And then now we're still doing competitive. We just got one of our first guys from under this moniker. That one of the first guys just signed his first college offer last 2 weeks ago. So that was nice. Of the kids that worked with us during COVID, we
That's awesome.
trained a couple female players that during that time too that are now playing university and college. Did as much work as we could.
Yeah.
Tried to help as many kids as we could during the time, and it's just kept going. And then so like I said, I took this year off of college to just kind of get the program going, work with the kids that we committed to during COVID, and try to keep helping them or get to their goals. And then, well, I'll go back to it next year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
if it was a paid position, it'd be different. But it's
yeah,
small here,
yeah.
so you do what you can.
That's fair. That's fair. And I know that one of the things you wanted to touch on was about the way that the game is played, and maybe in some ways coached. How it's different up in Canada than it is here in the States. How do you feel that the game is being taught differently, or how is the game, in your opinion, taught differently in both areas? And do you have a preference in terms of the play style between Canada and in the States?
Um, well, the, the play style right away instantly is the shot clock. I know you guys are starting to get the shot clock in places.
Yep, we're finally getting there here in Arizona.
Yeah,
Next year, it's going to be all across the state.
oh, that'll be good. It's good for the
Hmm.
game because
Yep.
we've been coming down there for I don't know 10, 15, maybe 12 years to different tournaments throughout Michigan and in Ohio, Indiana,
Hmm.
and there's no shot clock, and it's like watching 3-minute offensive sets
Yeah.
just drives me building. We have a
Uh,
24-second shot clock here. Like
oh,
we go.
that's a little different. Little different. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So so then my guys go down there to play, and they're shooting the. I mean, it looks like terrible shots, but we're used to having that 24-second
Yeah,
shot clock.
having to
So
having to move. Yeah.
yeah, we don't have a choice. So I don't want to take that away from them. So I don't. I don't tell them to slow down. I just like, just
No.
keep going, just keep playing the way
Yeah, yeah.
you want to play.
Sure.
Um, that and I think a lot of people say, and I guess I've never coached in the States per se, so um, but a lot of people say it's we're kind of about 15 years behind. So in the sense that the business side of it all is starting to increase here. So there's a lot more training, a lot more um, prep school scene is blown up here quite a bit in
Okay.
Ontario anyway. So we're catching up. We got a lot of players in the NBA now doing really well. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
we're definitely catching up here. So it's fastest growing sport in the country from what I've been told the last 5 or 6 years. So
Yeah, I was curious about how much you have to fight with younger players to get them on the court versus on the ice. I don't know if that's still how big of a struggle that is up there.
before grade 8, it's a struggle. After grade 8, the kids kind of realize, you know what, I can't skate. So NHL's over with. I'm gonna try something else.
Yeah,
And
yeah, the NHL dream go on to the NBA dream, so to speak.
yeah, it's nice though because they understand spacing and movement and teamwork, and so you already kind of get those basic things out of the way before they even get to you.
And I guess going back to what your previous answer was, that kind of makes sense. And you talked about like the prep schools and maybe more of that specialization and has as basketball's growing really big because yeah, you're right here. Not only do we have a lot of prep schools, specifically designed for those who are going to be in athletics, but I feel that kids younger and younger are working with trainers and already going through specialization training here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And I
Oh
don't,
man,
I don't think we've quite seen that up there in Canada yet. And I don't know how I would
you're
feel if
starting
it
to.
makes its way.
You're
I don't know how I'd feel. I guess it doesn't necessarily bother me in like group trainings, like camps like that, or if maybe a player is doing multiple sports. But I think to specialize and have a kid be already specializing in one sport with individually working with a trainer at 5 or 6 years old, that's a little concerning to me.
yeah. Let a kid be a kid.
Hmm.
Let him play hide and seek and manhunt just let him be a kid.
Yeah, and I know I agree with that, and I also I've read a lot, and I've probably talked about this here earlier too, but I've read a lot about how a lot of even NBA players or players who grew up in the United States who are playing, overseas, whatever the case may be, the amount of lower body injuries that a lot of players have, and how I feel like a lot of that is being attributed to just how much our guys are playing and girls are playing at a young age that their bodies in some cases are just like broken down or wearing down by the time they're in their 20s because they've played so many games through AAU and club and all this training, and it's really fascinating and kind of scary at the same time.
Yeah, sometimes you're playing 3, 4 games in a day. That's insane.
It's a lot on your body to
It's
be asking
it's
that much. Yeah.
it's a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the seasonal thing, especially with the younger kids. I
Yeah.
like, play soccer in the summer, just play all different sports and have fun. And
I like when my players kind of miss basketball a little bit. I get them some time away, let them miss it, let them come back to it more excited, and it's like obviously I would love to have them year round and just keep working, working, working. But I think having that break and letting them recharge, not only is it good for them, I think it's good for me too.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
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 I take August off every year,
yeah, yeah.
no
That's
matter
kind
what
of
I'm
me.
doing.
That's me of
And
July. So
is it
yeah,
July? Yeah,
yeah. July
there's
is I'm
July's
done.
live period. I gotta stay.
Oh
I gotta
yeah,
stay.
you know, no vacation for you in July. July, yeah, we finish our
But
summer stuff at the end of June, so July, I'm like, I'm out, you're out,
uh,
we're done.
yeah,
So
so that's why I always say when everybody's like, "What are you doing in August?" Like staying married.
yeah, there, yeah, yeah.
I got August off.
You'll need to do that. That's funny. All right. So with the idea of coaching with respect for the game, let's start with how you with your training and coaching, what is it that you do and work on to instill respect for the game in young players and really get that in a player to respect the game at a young age?
Well, I think the first thing to me, the most important thing to me is to make it fun. Um, a lot of these, especially now, I notice a lot of these kids are just they're stressed out all the time, and my phone blows up all the time with kids like, "Oh, did I do good tonight? Did I have a good night? It's like, okay, who cares? Like, you played hard. Did you have fun? That's always the question I ask back to them.
Hmm.
Um, I find, especially with younger kids, we'll call it a basketball practice, but we have a ton of different variation games we play with them. We have like we have versions of tic-tac-toe and bowling, and it's all kind of neat little games we play with them, but it's all basketball related, but it's competitive and it's fun, and it, gets them laughing and joking. I think for me at the beginning, at young ages, it's teach them to love the game first. Teach them to just enjoy coming to play and have fun. Don't make it stressful. Don't yell at them, or like, you know what I mean? Don't they're not high school kids, they're not college kids. There's little kids having fun. Um, so it's always my first thing I want to do with any kid. But even with my high school kids, I'll ask them the same thing. If they're stressed out, I was like, "Are you having fun? If you're not having fun, what are you doing?" It's a game. So, um, and then secondly, we try to tell them that, like, if you're doing something, you always want to try your best. You want to respect the game in that regard. That you want to make sure you're working hard, and you're giving your effort in. You're not just there. Do you know what I mean? Like, just
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
just flighting around. Like, you're there, and as they get older, especially, like, young kids are gonna pick dandelions and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine. I get it and I understand it, and and but for the most part, once as they start to get older, we start to not take the fun away. I don't mean it like that, but we start to get a little more serious every year as they get older, with more basketball, less goofy stuff. But even then, we had a bad practice, not a bad practice, but like, the guys were training with us, my U8 U19 guys. They were practicing 3 times a week
Hmm.
with us, plus they were in their high school seasons, because up here we don't have to take the time off.
Okay.
So, they're practicing 5 days a week with their high schools, 3 nights a week with me, and they were burnt out. So I was like, what can we do? All right. So I remember this little transition drill I did with young kids, and basically, it's you locate the sideline and sprint. We just got the football out. And we just started running football routes and throwing the football and transition routes. Just change the game up, have some fun with it, and they were laughing and joking, and we were working really hard though. But it just became it took some of the stress off. It made it a really light practice, but still effective. So I think a lot of that too is just taking a lot of the stress away off these guys. And
And I was curious about going back to the part about them at a young age and kind of that balance of like you want the players, right, to at a young age just to like playing and just to enjoy like being out there. But then you also kind of face that balance of also you want them to like be learning the game and understanding how to play the game the right way. And is that ever kind of like a struggle of like trying to get them to love it and enjoy being out there while also at the same time making sure that they're going about learning the game the right way, or does it come like pretty easily?
I think it's up to the coach really to, if you come in, I think if you come in with young kids, I don't know, I would say anywhere in elementary school almost, maybe grade 8, you start to do some more serious stuff. But if you come in every night and all you do is you run your sets and you do layups and jump shots, and it's all just skill, and I think it's up to the coach to find ways to teach basketball skills, but in a fun way. I think there's lots of little, you can find them online, or you be creative and figure them out yourself, and ways to have competitive games that teach basketball skill, dribble, pass, shoot, communication, things like that, but that are they don't come across as basketball. So the
Hmm.
kid's not sitting there going like, "Oh, I got to learn this, the basketball stuff." We have like one, we call it dribble snake. We do it with little kids, and it's a drill we use to teach dribbling in traffic. So we line them up, whatever you got, 8, 10 kids or whatever you got, and the back guy will start dribbling around in between each person all the way to the end.
Okay, yeah.
And then as he gets past, the guy behind him goes, and it's just like they keep looping each other, and they have to get all the way around the gym and follow the coach down the lines so they have to move in different directions and stuff and communicate. And they're dribbling in traffic and moving, but at the same time, they're not thinking it's basketball. They're just having fun with it. So I
That's
think
fun. That sounds I'm picturing that right now. That sounds pretty cool.
it's kind of neat. I'll sit there, and sometimes it's actually one of my favorite drills. I don't even know where I came up with it one night. I And I'm not
Sometimes
saying
those
the
are the
only,
best ones when
yeah, I'm
when you
not saying
do.
I'm the only one I've done it, but like it's just something I do. And parents will like bring their phones out and take videos and stuff, like trying to
Hmm.
see. It's like, okay, cool. Like the kids are laughing and joking.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, is there like as you're you're going through the different some of these drills and some of the games that you mentioned that you like to play with the players. Um, when you're doing those, is there like, for a lack of a better term, I guess, is there like a lesson that gets taught afterwards or explained like kind of like what the purpose of it is? Like, does it kind of all tie back together to like whatever, basketball related skill or sometimes they're just like games meant to kind of be games and not necessarily focusing on the skill aspect of it?
I think I don't like to, me personally, I don't like to, like if the parents look at me kind of weird or something, or say like, why, or another coach sees me and it's like, why are you doing that? It's like, well, think about it for a second. And I'll just use the dribble snake drill, for example.
Hmm.
Like the dribbling in traffic is a skill. Like it just is going right to left, going around people, moving with the ball, dribbling, especially with little kids, right? And it's just a fun way to do it without them thinking like, I got to be ABC, I got to do this, got to do that. So, um, I think it just depends. Like you want to let them know that, you know, teach them, say afterwards, like, yep, this is dribbling in traffic. Usually after the dribble snake drill, we'll go to dribble tag. Um, I don't know, knockout, I guess is what it's called, where they're all in the 3 point line and then they have to knock the ball away for each other while they're dribbling. There's like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a
I've
million
done
different
it
names
where
for it.
like yeah, I've done it where like you do it at like the half court and then you kind of shrink it and shrink it and shrink it. I've
Yeah,
done ones like that. Yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah, we do 3 point line, key, nail,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah. So and if you get out, you have to stand around. And then you can stand on the outside and you can reach and try to still steal the ball, even though you're out. So you're not standing around doing nothing. And
Hmm.
usually we'll go from there to there, and then we'll explain how they relate, how dribbling and traffic is important. Um, we have a bunch of different games like that we run with the younger kids, obviously, and they have fun with it. And it kind of all it just keep adding and adding and adding, and then we explain it to them then. But I never want
That's
to
fun.
make it. I never want to make it like super serious at a young age.
And
I, I would,
I guess that's kind of as a follow up to that. I guess would be in your opinion and the things that you see. Do you feel that like players at a young age maybe get taught or are learning in a way that isn't gonna help them like love the game? Like, are there situations that you've seen where it's just like drill, 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 and it's all about like outcome driven and not really about, actually enjoying the game and actually like finding pleasure in playing it?
I think sadly enough, yeah, you see too much of it. Like when you're seeing 8 year olds running 2-3 zone defenses and stuff. It's like, what are you doing? Like you actually spent time teaching an 8 year old how to do a 2-3 zone defense. Why? Like
Hmm.
it
Yeah,
drives me batty.
and
Or they're
as
running
I've
like full sets and they're 8.
and it's yeah, like situations like that. I think that it's always funny to see players running sets when they can't like dribble the ball. They
Yeah,
can't even like,
exactly.
bring the ball up, right, so to speak. And it's just like gotta break it down slow. And it sounds like that's what you're doing a lot, right? With your training is really just focusing on like the skill aspect. Because at the end of the day, like even if you're playing games as 7, 8, 9 year olds, like the outcomes don't really don't matter at that point.
Yeah, we've even designed our high school boys. We've designed their
Hmm.
the way they run their offenses and things that we run with them. First of all, we don't run zone. Refuse.
Excellent.
I
I
won't do it.
appreciate that.
And my son's the same way when because my son coaches our U16s, and he says like we have this 100% will not run zone no matter what. Play man. I mean, good man looks like a zone anyway, so play man. And then um, secondly, our offenses are the way we designed our offenses were designed for multiple things. So I know flex offense is kind of gone by the wayside in a lot of places. I love it. It's 5 guys all moving, all playing every position. You're not taking the 6'5" guy and throwing him in the post and he's he's shooting threes and moving, and
Hmm.
we do a lot of that, a lot of motion and movement stuff, as opposed to a lot of spacing, read and react kind of stuff, as opposed to, I don't know, burying guys in the post. And I don't know. I've seen too many 6'5" kids' careers get ruined by somebody telling them they're a post player when they're.
Hmm. And I think that in and of itself is being respectful of players, right? By not pigeonholing a guy who's 6 feet at 10 years old and saying, "Hey, you're a center. You better just learn this skill set," and then they don't grow anymore, and now they have to end up being a
Yeah,
point guard. They never learned how to play it before, and like
we,
you
we
got to teach all aspects of it to all players.
yeah, we got a 6'8" guy that came in this year. It's his first year with us. And the first thing I did was taught him how to shoot. He didn't know how to shoot, so that was the first thing we did. Okay, learn how to shoot.
Yeah.
Learn how to shoot, and we put him through dribble drills, and like that's how we started with him. We didn't start. I don't even think I've ever taught him a post move yet.
And I
Which
just
I'm
feel
not
that
sure.
that's like disrespectful to a player at 6'8" to not have any ability to handle the ball, because that at that point a player must have just thrown him in the block and just said, "All right, you don't move from here. This is it. This is I don't need you to do anything else but like these three
Yeah.
motions." And then they don't learn the game at all. They don't
Uh,
learn any individual skill set. If another coach tells them to go out the wing, they're gonna look like they've never played basketball before because they really haven't at that spot.
well, I learned, right, as you grow as a coach, you learn. And when I was a lot younger, I was coaching a U19 team, and we ran just a spread offense, and I made the mistake of. And you learn, right? And we all make mistakes all the time. But he got recruited to a school in the States, and he gets there, and they run pick and roll, and it's like, shoot. So he struggled when he first got there because I hadn't spent a lot of time on pick and roll with that particular team with the skill set we had. And my mistake as a coach. And then I was like, no, I'm never doing that again. It's, when you're a young coach, you got to learn.
Yeah,
So then,
and that's just comes with I think that comes with with being young, and I think that as we think about, being respectful to our players in the game itself, we as coaches, and especially younger coaches, even high school coaches like myself, really do need to like step back and realize that like these players are going to have other coaches more often than not than us, and we have to make sure that they're ready for maybe whatever their next coach is, wherever their next step is, and not just place them in one space where they don't have any other like knowledge other than the one specialized area I put them in, and make sure they're ready to go in any situation if another coach is coaching them.
yeah, at least touch on it. At least make sure you touch on it. Yeah, well, I won't make that mistake again.
Yeah,
No,
but that comes with being young.
he was fine, and he was starting freshman year by Christmas, and he was a really good player, so he was fine. But at the same time, I got lucky because if it was maybe not him, I could have really messed with a kid's career, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, I
Yeah, you
don't
don't want to do
ever
that.
do
Yeah,
that
yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah. And luckily you learn it when you're young and move on from it, and didn't and there you go.
Yeah, so
Um,
the 6'8" guy learns how to shoot, and the 5'10" guy learns how to post, and
it
we
learns how
just
to.
go.
Hey, yeah, exactly. Uh, and what is your coaching style in terms of coaching players on skills and lessons like beyond basketball? Like, how do you kind of teach things that go beyond basketball, even on the court or even off the court? How do you kind of go about getting your players to learn these lessons that they're gonna take beyond a basketball court?
I think I think the biggest thing that we can do as coaches, and this is, I hope this answers your question,
Hmm.
but the biggest thing we can do as coaches is make sure that these kids mean more to you than just basketball. Um, take an interest in their life, take an interest in their families, take an interest in their dreams. What do they want to do? Some kids play basketball because they love it, but playing university basketball or college basketball may not be what they want. They might want to focus on, being a lawyer or being a doctor or whatever they want, right? And to tell them that that's okay, that it's okay to do that, and check in on them once in a while, and make sure you're there for them, and make sure you're there for their families if they need anything. We've had a lot of, over the years, a lot of, not the bad things, but a lot of things have happened. Players have lost parents, families have struggled, and I think it's important for them to know that you're there and that you care. I've always had a 24-hour policy with the kids. My phone is beside me, and if you need me, you call me, and I'll come in. And if if something happens, or you're lost, or you're at a party and your ride is drinking or something like that, you call me. I'll come and get you, or I'll send an Uber for you on my dime. I don't care. Uh, I think that's number one. I think it's just making sure these kids know that you care, and not about basketball, about them as people first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you do that, the confidence that they gain from that, to know that, listen, I got somebody's got my back. And it's weird too, right? Like, as sometimes, I don't know, I know parents I've dealt with a ton of unbelievable parents, but sometimes it's different when it's not a parent, when it's somebody in the community, somebody, in the basketball world or whatever, that they know is there for them no matter what. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's huge, and I think it allows them some freedom to be like, I can do this and make a mistake, and you know what, coach has got me. He can talk. I can talk to him, or maybe I can't talk to my parents, but I can talk to coach, because he's not going to say nothing. He's gonna listen. He's not going to judge. Um, and I
Mm-hmm.
think, number one, that helps a lot with their ability to believe they can do something. I think, and then secondly, I mean, what do they need? Do they need tutoring? Do they need uh, a ride to something? You know what I mean? Like, anything they can do to help. Especially tutoring is the big one. If they need tutoring for certain subjects to do well in school. Um, I've had lots of players that told me they weren't going to college or university; they were just going to work. And uh, by by
Uh,
by the end, it was like, no, why not? Why not?
yeah.
Why not go?
Give
Like,
it a shot. Yeah, go
what,
for it.
what do you want to do with your life? And ask them questions, and take a keen interest in what they want. And it allows them to dream, I think. It allows
Yeah,
them
I
to,
like that. Allows them to dream. That's good.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's important.
yeah,
I
they
think
go ahead.
I think as we get older, we get locked into that 9 to 5 grind, and you got to pay the mortgage, you got to have food on the table, you got to take care of the kids, and you get locked in and you kind of forget. I'm a dreamer. That's just me. So I like my players to dream. I like them to not think anything's impossible. So
Well, something that you mentioned just kind of struck a chord with me personally because I was thinking about, the 9 to 5, right? You just mentioned, right? This idea of, kind of like the 9 to 5 or the grind somewhat. And I thought we sometimes, if we're not careful as coaches, can also make basketball seem that way. And we can, approach basketball or come across in our coaching in some aspects to our players and come across like basketball's a chore and us coaching our team is a chore and we have all these other things we need to do with our life. But here we are coaching with them and make it almost seem like a burden. And I think if we do that, I think our players will see that, and and
oh,
and
for
we might
sure.
and we might not be instilling the love of basketball and the respect for the game that we should if we ourselves are almost treating it like it's a chore or something on our to-do list.
Well, I know when I'm like, with my players, especially when I talk to them, um, you know, we tell them the same thing, and I've said it for my entire coaching career. Is as soon as you step between those lines, all your problems got to go away. This is your time to be you, and to be happy, and to to just focus on basketball and being here with your teammates. And yeah, the failed test, your parents are mad at you, your girlfriend dumped you. It doesn't matter. Like, this is your place to just let it all go, and just be in the
Hmm.
moment, and make it. So I try to make the game to them their, I don't know, I don't want to say safe space, because that's not what I mean, but
It's
there's,
it's just it's something they're comfortable in, right? Like it's just a place. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's where they can just forget about all their problems, and just,
Just like a bit of an escape,
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of.
okay, yeah, there's the word I was looking for. Yeah, like an escape for them, because life's tough, especially after the last couple of years, and these kids having to deal with everything they've had to deal with. Like,
Yeah.
the court's open. Come on in, get some shots up, hang out with your teammates. My guys, usually a lot of them are there early, and they just sitting in the hallway waiting for our gym slot, and
I
just
think the
talking, laughing, joking. It's
Yeah, I
perfect.
think I think that is I think that's key for us as coaches is that the gym should always be seen as like a place of, like I said, kind of an escape, or like, there's other stuff that's going on, out there in the world, or other stresses and other things happening. But like this gym is like, this is like our area to, really get after it and enjoy each other's company, and just love being able to play this game. And I think if we all kind of treat our gym that way and our space that way, like I think the mood and the attitude of the program is just going to go up, because everyone will just be excited because they know like the gym is like, oh, this is like our area for us to, really get after it, and kind of escape maybe some of these other things that are going on for a little bit.
Oh, exactly, exactly. And we allow expression. So I grew up in the 90s. So basketball and hip hop are like, I mean, that's like, I don't know, peanut
Of
butter and
course. Yeah,
jelly. You know
yeah,
what I
they're
mean? Like
they're they're
that's,
synonymous with each other.
yeah,
Yeah,
like it
right,
goes
right.
together. So, a lot of what we teach the kids is to be expressive and to find sort of, find their their art form, because basketball is an art form. It's not, I don't know, to me, it's not a sport necessarily. It's an art form. It's, you know, it's one of the only sports I find that it's an individual team sport, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. And
Yeah,
so
it's like five working as one on the court, sort of.
yeah, and but each player has their own sort of way they see the game and the way they approach the game and way they move, and when it's done right, it becomes this like beautiful symphony out there. And so to me, basketball's always been art. And I try to, and that's why I say it mixes with hip hop really well, because like kind of the flow, the rhythm to the game kind of goes with the rhythm of hip hop music, and so it's like that's the way I've always kind of viewed it. So I allow the
Hmm.
kids to kind of be themselves on the court too, and I don't try to change them to play like I want them to. I let them show me as the season goes on what kind of player they are, and then I adapt to what they're doing, so that way they're comfortable and they're not trying
And
to, they're not
and
stressed all the
and
time.
there's a big uh balancing act with that. And I know I struggled with it in my younger years of coaching, about feeling that a team was my team, and I needed to put my stamp on this team, and I needed to, mold my players to fit whatever image I had of them, versus allowing them to like be themselves. And then me as a coach, I'm trying to figure out how they all work together in a system that works best for them. And I think that could be tough. And I think that sometimes as coaches, we can almost like beat the personality out of our kids, or try and force them to be something that they're not. And I think that's a real good way to make our players kind of lose love and respect and enjoyment of the game, if we try and, just make them into, little robots that mold into our image.
Yeah, I think I learned from a friend, a good friend of mine, Coach Jay.
Hmm.
He's a university coach up here, and I don't know, probably about maybe 8, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, say we were at a we were actually in the States at the same
Oh,
tournament with our respective teams,
hmm.
and I don't know, his team wasn't. I won't say they weren't playing good, but there was a couple things I was like, whoa, and he just wasn't upset at all. He wasn't really reactionary. He just kept in a very very balanced tone, very calm, just explained and let it go. And I said to him, I said, because at the time I'm a young coach and I'm just starting to work my way up to the higher ranks of competitive. And I said, like, how do you do that? Like, how do you? And he just said to me, it's not about me. He
I
said,
like that. Yep.
it's just not about me. And it's resonant. Actually, I was with him on Sunday, and it just resonated in my head since then for the last probably 9 or 10 years of my career, where it says, you know what, this isn't about me. It doesn't matter. I don't need to bear the brunt of all this. I need to continue to coach the kids, because you know what, they know if they're playing bad. I don't need to tell them. I don't need to rub it in. I don't need to yell at them. I don't need to you know beat a dead horse, sort of say. They know if they're playing bad.
Yeah, and that's I think really key to not, harp on a kid who already understands when a mistake has been made. I think if you do your job as coaching, your players will be able to recognize their mistakes, and then in turn be able to self-correct without you then having to go and browbeat them and come after them. Like if hopefully if we've done our job as coaching, they can make mistakes, understand why they made the mistake, and then fix it next time, and not feel like they're going to be, have somebody jump down their throat for it, and make them feel terrible.
Yeah, I ask a lot of questions. That's my
Oh
coaching
yeah.
style. So like if a kid does something wrong, I'll be like, okay, why did you do that?
Hmm.
Because then if he answers and it's like if he's wrong or doesn't understand or did you see that option? And if they say no, it's like, okay, well that's my fault. I need to coach them better.
Yeah.
If they're like, yeah, but I thought this, okay, well that's okay then. They made their decision on how they saw the floor. I got to trust them and go with it, right? But
Yeah. And
that's how I find
and
out
you
where
learn a lot by asking those questions too.
oh yeah, a constant questions. Like it's just a constant stream at practice.
Hmm.
Always questioning, why did you do that? Did you see this? Do you understand this? Like, what should you have done? What could you have done?
And as I've mentioned before too, sometimes I learned that the way I was communicating or saying something was not the way it was understood by them. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a
Definitely.
me problem now because this is like almost like a language barrier that we're having. So,
Too many
yeah.
times.
Uh-huh.
I think
And,
especially coming up, it's like
mm,
I'm mostly self-taught too, so
oh yeah, so
uh,
a little trial and error.
it was yeah, like even now sometimes after 18 years or however long I've been doing this, you know, you'll get into you'll get into a conversation with like a real student of the game, you know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
and they'll start using all these terms and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they'll be like, well, it's when you do this. Like, oh, okay, I know. Like it's
I
not that
know
I
it in
do.
my language,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know what I call it.
Uh-huh. That's funny. Um, in general, do you feel where you're at that there's a respect for the game that the players have? Do you feel as you're watching the game, whether it's collegiately or otherwise, like the respect is there? I'll start with that. Where do you feel the respect is for the game right now in your area?
I think there's a split.
Okay.
I think there's a split of a lot of really good coaches doing a lot of exemplary stuff in the community, not just for the kids, but in the community as well, and putting kids in a really good spot to be successful and to learn. And then I think there's the other side of things where you get into the business, and not the business side, because some people, you know what, like some of this stuff is really, really good. And yeah, it's expensive, but um, just, I don't know. It's like every day there's a new trainer, there's a new this, there's a new that, there's a new, and it's like at some point it's just too much. And
Mm,
so I just worry that it's getting saturated a little too much. And I always, when that happens, and I'm not saying it's happening, I said it's just my worry is that the game becomes too much about the financials
like the
and
business.
not, yeah. And like we have a rule with my competitive kids, we have a rule. If you can't pay, you still play. I don't care. It does. I'll pay for it out of my own pocket. I don't care. I'll tell you a weird story
Okay,
if you don't mind.
I'm ready.
So this is what happened. And I was 18 years old. Competitive basketball in Canada was 25 years ago was nothing. We had the small program, and we were invited to play in the Adidas 64 in Las Vegas, which at the time was a huge tournament. And I made the team, and it was $500 to go. And my parents are going to listen to me, so I hope I don't embarrass them. But we didn't have $500, and I didn't even ask them because I knew we didn't have it. But $500 was flight, hotel, it was a very reasonable price, but just we just didn't have it.
Sure.
And and I know I missed that opportunity, and I've always kind of regretted it. And I'm sure if I would have asked, you know, and begged my grandparents and stuff, would have came up with it and figured it out. But I didn't want to because that's just not me. And so when I started coaching, and I really started thinking back on my days of playing, I decided that under no circumstances would a kid ever feel like that they couldn't have an opportunity because of financial reasons. So we have never, ever, ever cut a player or anything because of financial reasons. I'll pay for hotels, food. I don't care.
I mean,
It doesn't
AAU,
matter.
yeah, non-club stuff, it can get real expensive, especially I know here in the
Yep.
States it can. There's a lot of players who, get priced out essentially, and they may love the game and they may really enjoy playing it and want to play it the right way. And then it's hard though if they don't hit that price point, and it makes us think as coaches like, what are we doing if we have players who love the game and can play the game and it's just not become financially like viable? Like, have we kind of lost sight of what we're trying to do here?
Well, and I think since COVID, people are trying to, a lot of people that were making their livings off running tournaments and events and stuff, like the prices have skyrocketed. And I'm not sure if that's maybe the gym rentals. I know referees have went way up, and not that they're not worth it, but but it's went way up. And
Yeah,
we're up here paying 250 to 300 a game per team, and it's
really.
yeah, like it's expensive to play in high level leagues. It's expensive. Plus, you got to pay, 10, 15, or whatever dollars a day for each person to come watch your kid play after you already pay all that.
It racks up, yeah, and
It's
it's tough, and you really you don't. I don't know. It kind of breaks my heart to see players who just like feel like they're just been priced out of it, especially because I think basketball is it's such an accessible sport in terms of like what the equipment and everything that's needed to
yeah,
play it
it's a hoop and a
that
ball, man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, that to have it be, and I think that we kind of can lose sight of that, and are probably chasing off more players than we should due to that sort of thing.
yeah, it's unfortunate. Or kids that just feel like they can't play because of financial, but it's like we just don't. We figure it out. We run fundraisers. I'll ask any company that'll listen. I'll be like, listen, I got this kid, great kid. They have to earn it. Like they have to show report cards, and they got to make sure they're going to class, and you know what I mean. They have to put their effort in on their end from a scholastic standpoint, and then financially, I'll do what I can.
And and I and I think that that's something that we have to, just take in as part of the cost of doing this is like you're going to need to, run fundraisers or maybe get creative or, find the solutions for our players who maybe financially don't have the money. And I also think too, as coaches, especially if we're looking into running clubs or having that sort of situation, to maybe just focus on things local within the community and work on clubs that don't require necessarily a lot of travel or a lot of commitment. They may not play, the highest level of competition or they may not be on the showcases or anything like that, but there's a huge need for coaches who are willing to just allow players to play, even if it's just on like a very local circuit and one that's a lot more reasonable and affordable for
Oh, for
families.
sure. And there's always house leagues, and there's always, school basketball up here is not in our area. It's not
Hmm.
great. There's some really good programs, but overall, um, we have a lot of schools in a very small area, so the talent gets spread out pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But
Um,
it gives an opportunity for a lot of other people to play, though. But
Yeah, and I don't even and I think that could be really helpful for some coaches too. I think some coaches get scared off of like getting involved in club or travel because they're worried about all their weekends being taken away from them or having to, be gone all the time. But you can definitely make an effort at a local level to, be out there and coaching, giving our players opportunities, and then as coaches also not have to worry about, stretching yourself too thin where you're gone every weekend or feel like you have to try and to go to all of these like really high level events and put a lot of stress on yourself and things like that. And there's ways to go about it and make it a lot less stressful for everyone involved.
yeah, I remember my worst year was 32 weekends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
man.
my wife would be like, "Do you want to go on vacation?" I was like, "No, I want to sleep in my own bed."
Uh-huh. Yeah, that is your vacation, right? It's not like you see
But
it that often.
I was running three teams that year, so
Oh man, that
um
is
we
that's a
had
lot.
yeah, we had so many kids this one year that I was like, you know what, I'll just run multiple teams and I'll just take
Yeah.
them. And so we did it. It was one year, but it was that was a
Yeah,
lot.
that is a lot.
I
Um,
was pretty tired by the end of that.
Oh, I can imagine. What do you feel that when players have love for the game and they respect the game, what is it that you feel that those players are able to run on the court, or what systems do you think that they're going to run effectively when you have a group of guys or girls who are really passionate about the game and respect it and play it the right way?
I think I mean I think when you look at basketball the way it should be played, which is team oriented, which is bigger than just you. Um, they, I think you learn like it's such a cool thing to see when a kid and my team this year actually is really bought into this. When a kid doesn't care about how many points he scores, doesn't care about any, he just cares about did we win. And did I do everything I can, not for me, but for the other guys or women, I guess I should say, but the other players on the team? Did I do my best in my role for that game, right? And because you're not going to score 20 every game. You might score 2 one game and 30 the next. You don't know, especially when you're running a basic flex system. Like you don't know who's going to score. So
Hmm.
um, I think that's really, really, really a neat thing. I think it's important for them to learn that too, because then you get out into the workforce and you got to work as a team, or else you typically get fired. So it's just such a nice lesson to learn for them, and we really try to preach that. So don't worry about yourself. Make sure you're ready to do what's best for the other 11 players on the team.
Yeah, I think at any system that involves like a high level of like communication, I think if you have guys and girls who really like love what they're doing and really have taken the time to learn the game, you can see some beautiful like presses or press breaks or motion type offenses where everybody's engaged, everybody's in tune. And I think that you kind of struggle implementing those things when you have players who really don't, love and respect the art of the game or respect, the way that it should be played. And I think that's when you end up with more isolation, sets or people that are trying to
Yeah.
get theirs and sort of thing. And I think I think that the beauty in, playing the game and playing it well is players understanding just how important it is to be a team and all the off-ball movements and all the things that just need to happen for everybody to work as one. And I think that that's the big leap I think I've noticed is when a bunch of individual players can kind of work as one on the court. Then I'm like, okay, they really get it. They really understand how this
It's,
should be getting played.
it's such a beautiful thing, eh? It really is. When the game's played right and the ball's moving and people are moving and nobody cares about mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when
It's
when people are more excited about like getting an assist, right? Or
you know
or
you
yeah, and the bench is jumping up and exciting about what's
yeah, like,
happening. Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I almost got goosebumps there just hearing like
yeah.
my adrenaline gets going so good when that happens, because then not only are you proud of your players for doing that, it's kind of like in the back of your head, like, okay, I'm doing things right. They're playing the game the right way. I've got the message I wanted to get out across to them. So then I'm happy about that, because it's what you want to see, right? Like it's like everybody says about the Spurs, or with the Tim Duncan Spurs,
Yeah,
or the
my
even
favorite basketball team. So there you go. Yeah, yeah. Shout out Spurs. Yeah.
they're so beautiful to watch them play, right? Or the Warriors before Jordan Poole, where it was just so beautiful to watch. Just the way that I don't understand how he fits into that team, because he's
The ISO
isolation,
ball.
baby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And all the rest of them are just, yeah, they're centered around Curry. I get it, but how he gets his shots is so beautiful. It's just movement. So my favorite player of all time is Reggie Miller. So
Yeah. Talk
and
about off-ball movement, being able
yeah,
to
oh
work with it
yeah.
in offense, right?
Like as a kid, like I just watching Reggie Miller come off those double baseline screens and stuff, and just I loved it. And
Yeah,
that's
and there's an aspect of loving and respecting the game. Those guys who are going to set the screens, right? Those guys who are going to do
yeah.
all the dirty things and understand just how those contribute to winning. And maybe that's the big leap is not just having players who will do, set the screen, but really understand the purpose of it and understand how important it is and actually enjoy setting it because they know what that screen is going to lead to. I think that'd be a good thing for coaches maybe to look for in their practices or to pay attention to is like does that player who's setting that screen, do they like love setting it? Like, is it something they get excited about or passionate about? And if they do, like, hold on to that player because that's
Oh, for
awesome.
sure. Or a kid that loves boxing out, or taking charges, diving on the ground. Like we had when we brought our coaches in this year. So we do a lot of coach training too. So we've got a lot of kids that are back from university and stuff that played for me as kids, are now starting to filter back into the program as coaches. So we're doing a lot of coach training this year. And when we had tryouts, we met as a group, because we all kind of coach together. Like my son's the head coach of the grade 10s, but I'm at every practice, but he takes the lead because then I follow his lead because he's the head coach, and vice versa on the grade 12s. And we said, look, don't look for skill necessarily. Basketball is easy to teach. Look for kids that want to work. Look for kids that will rebound and go after loose balls and defend and communicate. That stuff's hard to teach because that's character stuff. That's
Yeah, I
just,
mean, those are all high character skills. You got to
yeah.
teach character, and you got to find. I mean, find guys and girls and teach guys and girls who are going to play with a level of like character that is going to have stuff that isn't going to show up on a stat sheet, but they understand just how important it is, regardless. Like you said, of boxing out and communicating and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just a passion thing, right? It's just, they're passionate about winning and about wanting to put their best effort out there. And that's a quality that's hard to find. It
Yeah,
really is,
I said
especially,
if you get them, hold on to them. Don't let them
you know,
go.
two hands. You're not going nowhere.
No, 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 100%. Um, so my last bit here before we hit our concluding segment is, as you think about like the college program and working in a college setting, do you just see, as you kind of like take a look at the way that the college game is being played from your experience, do you feel it's being played with respect for the game, or is there anything you would like to see different, or what's your overall evaluation of where it's at?
I I have a few thoughts. So again, there's the huge difference in Canada here. The majority of us are volunteers,
Sure.
coach at the collegiate level. University is a little different. Some are volunteers, some are paid. Um, but even like a head college coach here is a part-time gig. It's not a full-time job. You still got to work full-time. It's
Mm.
full-time hours, but
Yeah,
it's
of
not a
course, of
full-time
course.
job. And you kind of got a little bit. You just have to love the game to be willing to do it, because it's a lot of pressure on family life and everything else that goes with it. Um, I think I think we could do a better job up here. I think if at least the head coach was full-time in the collegiate, in university here, the head coaches are full-time, so they're
Hmm.
there, and I think that's really important. Um, I know some schools here have kind of got around it, but they'll give you a job at the school.
Yeah, yeah,
So that way you're there all the time, because I think access to the coach is important for players, because listen, like, and as you know, their lives they're hard. Everybody thinks they can be a college basketball player, university basketball player, and they get
of
there and they're
course.
like, whoa, wait a second. I got to practice every day, lift every day, go to class every day. But when
Uh-huh.
I'm on my own, my mom and dad's not here making my food and doing my laundry for me anymore, and it's a huge life adjustment. Just the school part of it alone is a huge life adjustment. Now add
Hmm.
five, 6 practices a day, doing homework on the bus, trying to catch up on sleep, and it's not for everybody. And I think having a coach on premises all the time in an open door policy would be a number one for me, how we could improve here. And I think we'd see a lot more success.
Mm.
I, again, at the university level, it's better. They have full time coaches and everything. And the college game's getting better here, skill wise, especially with all the increase in prep schools and high level basketball. The game itself is much better. Our colleges up here are beating D3s and stuff now, maybe even D2s.
Really? That's
Yeah, we
right.
might
That's a good step in the right direction.
we might have beat some D2s the last couple of years too. Our university, some of them are beating Division ones, like Carleton. They're beating Division ones every year.
Yeah, yeah. No, that I've heard about that program. They're doing real cool things over
Eh,
there.
yeah, they don't lose.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that yeah, that's a succinct way to put it. Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
but I just think as the game grows here, and I think our media could do a little bit better with the university and college game. Like all our universities and stuff, our college games get streamed online. Every game gets streamed online. National championships just happened. It's all online streaming. Um,
Mm. Just a little bit
and
more exposure, a little bit more media presence about it.
yeah, I mean, it should be on TV. Like, these kids are good and they deserve it. They work
Yeah,
really,
deserve the
really
spotlight
hard.
for it.
I think so.
Yeah,
I,
no,
I, I,
absolutely.
sa- I said to my son, wouldn't it be nice if you had like a, CC, or like a CCA or whatever, in a U Sport uh, game of the week kind of
Hmm.
thing on like TSN 4, which is like our ESPN, but it's I think it would do wonders for the game. Our TSN just signed with our pro program here. We have a pro league here, CUBL, and our sports network just signed a contract with them to play a game of the week. Or I'm not sure on all the details of it. It just came out, but that's a big step in the right direction for us up here.
No, I love it. That's awesome. I think that's one of the big changes we can make. Respect from the game is get more attention to it. Respect
Yeah,
the
just
players playing it, right?
yeah, because there's a lot of kids that don't take it seriously, I think, that
But
have
but if they see the exposure of it though, and they see that it's being treated seriously, then it's like, oh, this game is a big deal.
yeah, or it's funny like in our town, like we have a university and a college. Both are very good programs, coached by very good coaches and long-term coaches. I think Tony's been at Fanshawe for I don't know 12, 13 years, and I mean he's a London legend where we're from,
Hmm.
and Coach Campbell over at Western's been there. He was a player there, and he's been coaching there for a very long time. And they do a wonderful job. Have terrific programs, and it's amazing how many basketball players haven't never been to a game. Plus, we have a pro team here. We have a lot of the London Lightning pro team here.
Probably a lot of people don't really know much about it or anything about it, huh?
Well, yeah, and it's like it's kind of sad because there's a
Yeah.
lot of in our area. There's a ton of talented players, but
And I think even where basketball is huge, like where I'm at, even at the high school level, we always as coaches can do more just to build up, even our local high school teams or our local teams and all the things that they're doing and make it seem, a real huge deal because it is a real huge deal and really highlight it and spotlight it and just we can all do just a little bit more probably to just make it more exciting and really make our players feel special for all the cool stuff they're doing.
oh, absolutely. And like I said, it is definitely improving. It's
Yeah,
improving
it sounds like it's going in
yearly.
the right
And
direction.
yeah, it's just I don't have a lot of patience. I want
No, I'm on it now. Yeah, no, I get you. I'm
yeah,
the same. I'm the same way with everything.
yeah. I just like there's so much you see that you could do and help, and it's like, okay, let's just go.
Uh-huh.
We can do this. We can do more. We can help more. We can.
No, absolutely.
But
Great.
no, we're definitely on the right direction here. And like I said, the amount of Canadians in Division One basketball and the amount of Canadians playing pro.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of pros are coming out of our college programs now, which is awesome. Uh, a lot of over in Europe and stuff, a lot of pros coming out, and you know, whack load of NBA guys. I think our Canadian national team should be.
They're doing well. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
We're
they're no
getting better.
joke. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
we got some
Not,
guys. So
yeah, people are gonna be able to name more players than just Steve Nash. So
yeah,
that's always good. That's always good.
yeah. So it's awesome. It's a lot of fun up here. It really is. And like I said, there's a lot of attention gets put on the bad apples, but there's so many unbelievable people doing great things up here.
Love it. Coach, to wrap up, there's a couple questions I ask every guest. I'll go ahead and start with
Absolutely.
this first one, which is thinking back on your coaching career, what is a moment from your coaching career that you think others listening would be able to learn from?
Huh. I would have saved the J story for that.
I gotta get another one ready to go.
um, I think for me, my favorite uh memory. Well, I have a bunch of memories. I have so many memories now from all the amazing kids I've dealt with and coached and been around. I think we had this one team, and I think they were grade four, maybe grade fours. I think they were grade four, grade 3-4 split team, I believe. And we started the season. We had 5 players. It was a co-ed team, but we had to play in a boys league, but it was a co-ed team. We had 5 players, and we kind of found a player here, found a player there. There was a lot of stress getting this team together,
Mhm.
but we had made promises to younger brothers of our other players, and so we made all these promises, and then it came together, and we lost, and we lost, and we lost, and we lost, and I remember we finally won a game, and I don't know, we were probably 6 months into the season. We finally won a game, and I just remember that the joy on those kids' faces and the parents and how proud they were. And this was like the parents were fine the whole year. I didn't have any problems. It wasn't like it wasn't a thing where it was like hurting kids' confidence or anything. The kids were having a really good time anyway, but that memory sticks with me because I think in part and parcel with that, with what Coach Jay kind of said to me about it's not about us. It's really not. It's about that kid will remember these moments for the rest of their lives. They'll
Yeah.
remember. They won't remember, When I was 8 years old, I lost by 2 to XYZ team. They don't remember
No,
that,
no, you're right.
but they'll remember the nights in the hotels. They'll remember the road trips. They'll remember the bonds and the friends and the memory. Like it's such a cool thing. And I think coaches need to really, really understand that you're so much bigger of a part of their lives than just whether the ball goes in the hoop.
Hmm.
It's such a blessing to be a part and to be just such a small part in their development, and just to see the utter joy in the successes that they had. I don't know if it was just the success, and seeing the success after all the hard work, and the emotion that they let out was just so gratifying. And it's always stuck
Love
with
it.
me.
That is an awesome story.
And that
That's
those kids they're in university now. So
yeah, that
um
is so cool.
and I think it goes with it saying it's about those memories. It's um we do a lot of different things for that reason. So like when we
Hmm.
go away to big tournaments, we typically stay an extra day and we find something in the city for them to do. We don't just go sit in the hotel and go home.
Yeah,
We,
get them the experience.
yeah, we take them to different sightseeing things. We went to Montreal for a tournament before
Oh,
COVID.
nice. That's awesome.
They have a theme park there, so we stayed an extra day after the tournament, and we got
Yeah,
tickets for the whole team to go to
that's cool.
like a Six Flags or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not Six Flags, but same idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really cool.
We went to Chicago, and it's like, okay, well, what can we do at Chicago? Well, we can go to the Bean. We can go to you know, uh,
I'm from Chicago and you're speaking my
oh, there you
language. Yeah,
go.
the
So
Bean, Sears Towers, see all the Buckingham. Yep, yep, yep.
yeah, we did that. We did the Shed Aquarium. We ordered $300 in deep dish pizza for the team.
Yeah,
Bad idea, by
perfect.
the way. You can't eat.
It's
You
yeah.
can't eat more than two slices. It's no good. So I think that's
Ah,
important. I think
that's
creating
funny.
memories. Yeah, I think creating memories for kids is so important. Don't just take them to a tournament, sit in a hotel,
Yeah.
eat your waffles in the morning, and play
Yeah,
basketball. I think.
yeah, yeah. Give them the whole thing about traveling, all the benefits of it. Give them that deep dish pizza. Yeah.
I remember the one time we were in Michigan and we were playing, and I was coaching the grade 12s, and our other coach was with us, and I texted him after a game. I said, "Yo, where are you? Let's get some dinner. But let's get the teams together and get some dinner." And we're across town with the team. I said, "Why?" He goes, "Oh, we're playing Pokemon Go." I'm like,
No,
I'm
nice.
like, what are you talking about?
That is so funny.
He took the team because they were all at the time. That's when it was really huge.
Yep, yep.
So him and the parents had taken the team on to go track Pokemon
Go track movement.
in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
That is cute. That is awesome. That's
It
really
was so
cool.
funny though, but like I don't know. Those are the memories that stick out to me too. Like
Yeah, yeah.
winning and losing games. I have a 10-minute memory for that stuff.
Right, right. I love that. Coach, that was really good, but I'm gonna give you still what I call my 60-second soapbox, but you can go longer than 60 seconds. Don't worry, I won't be timing you. A platform for you to kind of get out your final thought, a closing message, just something that you want to leave the listeners with, and you can feel free to take it sort of any direction you want. It'll be open-ended. So I'm just gonna kind of give you the floor, coach. I'm just gonna let you take it from here.
Um, well, I kind of I'll piggyback on that a little bit because
Hmm.
that's really my true belief to this whole thing is that I have a saying, and I've been interviewed, and I've been actively looking for a head coaching job at post secondary head coaching job last year or so, and in interviews and stuff they always ask me, and they're like, what do you consider success?
Hmm.
And my answer is the same: if I get invited to the wedding. And they're like, and it always strikes them as weird. And they always ask me, every time they ask me, they're like, well, what do you mean by that? It's like, well, if I've made that big of an impact on a kid's life that when he or she goes to get married, they think to invite me, then I've done my job. Uh, it's bigger than this game. It's memories. It's family. It's lifelong friendships. Um, there's so much bigger than just putting a ball in the hole, and we need to remember that as coaches, and we need to take that very seriously. And the mental health of our kids, check in on them once in a while.
Yeah.
Just you're off for the season. You haven't seen the kids in a month. All of us have chat groups with our teams. We all do, of course. And message chat group, say, hey everybody, how you doing? Or we do little things like our gym got canceled one night. I said, no, you're not getting off that lucky. Get on Zoom. We're gonna watch. We're gonna watch an NCAA or oh no, it was the Canadian university playoffs. So it's like we're gonna watch a playoff game and just talk, just hang out, just talk over Zoom. Um, Again, creating experiences, creating memories, and making sure that they know that they're not just a basketball player to you. And if you can do that, I think you can do great things with these guys, and I think you can allow them to dream. You can allow them to chase instead of just doing what they're expected. You can let them have some creativity in their life and really live a good life.
Awesome. That's really well said. That's a great way to kind of end that on. It's about so much more than putting it through the hoop, like you mentioned. That's great.
Yeah,
I love that. If I get invited to the wedding, that's cool. That's cool.
I swear, like that's just it. Like I love it when a kid like says, oh, when they graduate high school, I get invited to the graduation. Like I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And stop ranking 8-year-olds. Stop doing that. Let them be kids.
Let them be kids.
I get so mad when
we're circling back to that from part. No,
but it is.
Just let them be.
But like it's a game. It's a game. It's fun, and it's such a beautiful game.
Awesome. Coach, I want to thank you for coming on here talking about just coaching with respect for the game and being a coach that's just going to teach things the right way, let our players just love the game and make sure as coaches we take a step back and make sure we're coaching for the right reasons and that our players are playing for the right reasons. So best of luck as you keep jumping right back into the college coaching ranks and beyond. It sounds like you got a great thing going on, and Coach Robertson, keep it going. Thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, Coach.
And thank you all for listening. This was another edition of the Basketball Teacher Podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Basketball Teacher Podcast. Make sure to connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or reach us directly through email at basketballteacherpodcast@gmail.com. Take care, be safe, and we'll see you next time.